When I was 34 years old, I believed I was strong. Not in the gym selfie, protein shake kind of way. I meant strong in the way people who survive difficult childhoods think they are strong. I had grown up watching my father work double shifts at a factory, my mother stretch a single meal into two, and my older brother hide his asthma attacks because we couldn't afford frequent hospital visits. Compared to that, my life felt easy. I lived in a mid-sized apartment in a busy city. I worked as an operations manager for a logistics company. The job was demanding, but it paid well. I had health insurance, I owned a car, I could afford vacations, though I rarely took them. I told myself I had made it. The headaches started on a Tuesday. They weren't dramatic, no sudden collapse, no flashing warning signs, just a dull pressure behind my right eye. I assumed it was stress. We were finalizing a major contract, and I had been sleeping 5 hours a night for weeks. I took ibuprofen. It worked, or at least I thought it did. Over the next few months, the headaches returned. Not daily, just often enough to become familiar. Sometimes they came with a strange heaviness in my right arm. Once or twice, I noticed my fingers felt slightly numb. I blamed my desk job. I blamed my posture. I blamed my phone. I did not blame my body. When my girlfriend Sarah suggested I see a doctor, I laughed it off. "It's just stress," I said. "Everyone gets headaches." She didn't push it. I wish she had. It was 6:40 a.m. when I woke up and realized something was wrong. The headache wasn't dull anymore. It was sharp, like someone had driven a nail through the side of my skull. I tried to sit up, but my right arm wouldn't cooperate. At first, I thought it was asleep. Then I tried to speak. "Sarah." What came out was a slurred, broken sound. I saw the fear on her face before I fully understood what was happening. The next 30 minutes are fragmented in my memory. The ambulance siren, the flashing lights, the ceiling of the emergency room sliding above me as they wheeled me in. A young doctor leaned over me. "Sir, can you squeeze my hand?" My left hand responded. My right did not. Stroke. At 34. The MRI showed a small clot in a blood vessel on the left side of my brain. The doctor explained that it had likely been building for months. "Your blood pressure is extremely high," he said, "and your cholesterol levels are elevated. Have you been monitoring them?" I shook my head. I hadn't seen a doctor in 3 years. I worked long hours. I ordered takeout 5 nights a week, burgers, fried chicken, late-night pizza. I drank 2 energy drinks a day, sometimes 3. I told myself I was too busy to cook, too busy to exercise, too busy to get a checkup. Lying in that hospital bed, with my right arm barely moving, I realized something terrifying. My body had been trying to warn me, and I had ignored it. People love dramatic recovery stories. What they don't talk about is how humiliating recovery can feel. I couldn't button my own shirt. I couldn't hold a fork steadily. My speech was slightly slurred for weeks. Physical therapy began 3 days after the stroke. My therapist, Daniel, was patient but firm. Recovery isn't about pride, it's about repetition. Every day, I practiced basic movements, lifting my arm, gripping a soft ball, walking in a straight line. The first time I tried to jog, something I used to do occasionally, I stumbled after 3 steps. I went home that night and cried in the shower, not because of pain, because of fear. What if this was permanent? During my hospital stay, more tests were done. The truth was uncomfortable. I wasn't just stressed, I was metabolically unhealthy. Blood pressure, 165 over 105. LDL cholesterol, high. Fasting blood sugar, pre-diabetic range. Body fat percentage, 31%. I wasn't obese, I didn't look sick, but internally, my body was under constant strain. The neurologist was direct. "You were lucky," she said. "This was a small stroke. Next time might not be." Next time. The words echoed in my head.
When I returned home after 8 days in the hospital, I expected relief. Instead, I felt shame. Friends texted supportive messages, colleagues sent flowers, my boss told me to take all the time I needed, but I felt exposed. How had I let this happen? I was educated, I understood basic health principles, I knew vegetables were better than fast food, I knew sleep mattered. But knowing and doing are not the same. The truth was simple. I prioritized productivity over health. I treated my body like a machine that could run indefinitely without maintenance. Machines break. Bodies break harder. I didn't wake up one morning transformed into a health fanatic. Change started small. Daniel, my therapist, recommended walking slowly every day. At first, it was 10 minutes around the block. I felt ridiculous. I used to manage teams, lead meetings, negotiate contracts. Now, my daily victory was walking 800 meters without feeling exhausted. But something shifted during those walks. I noticed trees I had never seen before. I noticed how shallow my breathing had been for years. I began cooking simple meals. Oatmeal instead of skipping breakfast, grilled chicken and vegetables instead of fried takeout, water instead of energy drinks. No extreme diets, no sudden detoxes, just consistency. Physical recovery was half the story. The real battle was psychological. For months, I lived with anxiety. Every headache terrified me. Every moment of dizziness sent my heart racing. I started therapy, not physical therapy, mental health therapy. For the first time, I admitted something uncomfortable. I had built my identity around being indispensable. If I slowed down, I felt guilty. If I rested, I felt weak. The stroke forced me to confront a deeper truth. I was afraid of being average. So I overworked, I overcommitted, I overstressed, and my body paid the price. 6 months after the stroke, my numbers looked different. Blood pressure, 122/80. Cholesterol, normal range. Blood sugar, stable. Body fat percentage, 24%. I wasn't obese, I didn't look sick, but internally, my body was under constant strain. The biggest difference wasn't on a lab report, it was in my routine. I slept 7 hours a night. I exercised 4 times a week, mostly strength training and walking. I cooked most of my meals. I scheduled medical checkups like business meetings, non-negotiable. My right arm regained 95% of its strength. There was still slight stiffness in my fingers, but only I noticed it. People told me I looked healthier. What they didn't see was the daily discipline behind it. One evening, I visited my parents. My father listened quietly as I explained everything: the stroke, the recovery, the lifestyle changes. After a long pause, he said something I'll never forget. "We worked hard so you didn't have to destroy yourself the way we did." He wasn't accusing, he was grieving. His generation had sacrificed their bodies out of necessity. Mine was sacrificing out of ambition. There's a difference. It has been 3 years now. I still take medication to manage blood pressure, though at a lower dose. I still attend follow-up appointments annually, and I still walk every morning. Not because I'm afraid, but because I remember. I remember the hospital ceiling. I remember the helplessness of not being able to move my arm. I remember Sarah's face when she thought she might lose me. Health is not dramatic until it is. Most crises are built slowly, quietly, through small daily neglect. My stroke didn't happen in one morning. It happened over years of skipped sleep, processed food, unmanaged stress, and ignored symptoms. The headache was not the beginning. It was the final warning. If someone reading this is like I was, busy, ambitious, constantly tired but pushing through, here is what I learned. Feeling fine is not the same as being healthy. Youth does not protect you from consequences. Stress is not a badge of honor. Regular checkups are not optional. Small habits compound, both good and bad. You don't need a dramatic wake-up call to change, but sometimes, unfortunately, that's what it takes. I was lucky. Many people aren't. And every morning when I lace up my shoes and step outside for my walk, I remind myself, strength isn't about how much you can endure. It's about knowing when to stop.